Assalamualaikum and good day to all my panelists. My name is Nurifah Shamimi binti Rosli. I will present my Bachelor Degree Project 2, which is my title, is Quality Improvement in Manufacturing Industry using DMAC approach. Here is the presentation outline, which is content, introduction, problem statement, objective and scope, literature review, methodology, result and discussion, and conclusion, and also recommendation. The first outline is the introduction. Quality defined as the level with which a product meets the customer requirement at the beginning of its life. In manufacturing, high quality product can make an important contribution to a long-term income and also the profitability for the company. The letter of DMAX was represented by 5 P's that is known as define, measure, analyze, improve, and also control. The voice of customer is important in order to understand the feedback from current and future customer that suggesting offering that satisfy, delight, and also dissatisfy them. This is the problem statement. This project was carried out at rice production industry in Perlis. The problem related is the quality of product in the rice production that did not meet the expectation. Next, the defects in the production such as whitening, break broken rice, and small broken rice that exceed the expectation can affect the productivity of the industry. Lastly, the workers that lack in monitoring that cause problem such as machine that not maintained regularly and the tool that usually fails. The objective of this project is number 1, to analyze the current process problem in the rice manufacturing industry. Number 2 is to analyze the root cause in the quality of product. And number 3 is to propose alternative for quality improvement. The scope is to focus on improvement in the quality of the rice in manufacturing process and the strategy to analyze the effective result between the previous method with the MAC method. This is the literature review of past research that related to this project. From the summary, we can see that by using the DMAC approach, the result can improve the better performance of the company. Besides that, it also reduce or eliminate error, be more efficient, reliable, and consistent with the manufacturing process. This is the flowchart for methodology. This methodology are based on the DMAC phase. So the first one is start with the define phase, which is also the methodology based on the objective of this project. So the next one is continue with the measure phase. So this is the continue for the methodology. After the measure phase, it's continue with the analyze phase. After that, it's continue with the improve phase, and for the last one, it's continue with the control phase. For this methodology, all the objectives are based on this project. For the next outline, I will discuss about the result and the discussion. In the define phase, the problem or defect was identified by using the data collection. There are 3 types of defects or problems that we found in the rice production. So the first one is the whitening of the rice that did not meet the expectation requirement. The number 2 is big broken rice, and number 3 is small broken rice that exceed the expectation. Next, the tool that we use is Pareto chart. From the table, we can see the data that has been collected. From the data, we also can find out that whitening defect has the highest value of the quantity defects. Also, from the Pareto chart, we also can find out the whitening defect that caused the greatest problem in the production. This is the process flowchart. There is 7 processes in the rice production of the industry. The flowchart shows all the steps that involve in the manufacturing that start with the process 1 by the pre-cleaner and end with the process 7, which is hardening bin. In the measure phase, it shows the process mapping of the rice production. The process mapping is gathering and documentation of the current process situation. It also helps to clearly identify the process step and the process input in order to identify the process variation. For example, for process step number 1 is the paddy intake, and the process input is the dry paddy was carried by the forklift, and the next is to put the paddy into the intake hopper, and so on. It helps to clearly understand on how the process works. Next is the cause and effect matrix before and after sorting following the overall total process value. From the cause and effect matrix, we can see the double deck rotary plate sieve has the highest overall total process. The rating important to customer were categorized into 3 and 9 value. The value rank from 1, which is not important, and 10, which is the most important. The rating set for whitening is 3, for the big broken rice is 9, and for the small broken rice is 9. So the correlation score between the process and output is 0, 1, 3, and 9. Next is the analyze phase. In order to find out the root cause of the problem, the fishbone diagram was being used. So this is the fishbone diagram for each of the defects in order to identify the root cause. All the defects commonly has problem from the manpower categories. Next, the tool that been used in analyze phase is firewire analysis. All the factors of defects was being analyzed to determine the root cause. For example, number 1, for the whitening defects, the firewire analysis technique being used in order to determine the root cause of problem by repeatedly asking the question why, and the solution also will be discussed in order to solve the problem. Next, the failure mode and effect analysis was being used in the analyze phase. It is a more systematic method to evaluate the process in order to identify where and how it might fail and to address the potential problem. In the cause and effect matrix, the double deck rotary plate sieve and rice producer has the highest value. So the process is being used as the function in the failure mode and effect analysis. Based on the potential cause, we can see the machine is not maintained regularly, and it can happen to lead the problem in the production. Next is the improve phase. After finding the root cause in the analyze phase, there are 2 suggestion tools that can be done in order to improve the quality. Number 1 is standard operating procedure, and number 2 is Pokayoke. In order to achieve the improvement, there are 2 steps that need to be done in the SOP. For example, the technical training skill checklist and the employee performance review. The technical training skill checklist is to evaluate the skill level capability of operator and sanitation worker, mechanic, and also electrician, while the employee performance review to evaluate the employee level of knowledge after finish the training. Supervisor also can evaluate the characteristic of the employee, and their lacking also can be improved. So the supervisor should monitor and discuss the future goal with the employee in order to be more effective. The next suggestion tool is the Pokayoke. The table shows the relationship of the cause of defect and human error. Pokayoke minimizes the waste caused by the flaw, which can help to lowering the cost of production associated with rework and additional processing. This slide is the continuous of the Pokayoke. Based from the brainstorming and firewire analysis, by using Pokayoke can prevent the occurrence of human error. The suggestion of suitable sensing device that can be implemented, such as color sensor, which can be installed at each of the polisher machine. The color sensor can detect the value of the whitening, and the value can be monitored by the operator in order to improve the quality. The next suitable sensing device is the limit switch, which can be installed at each of the elevator. It also can prevent the elevator from jam because of the overload capacity. The limit switch can signal the operator to make sure the stability of the elevator. Lastly is the control phase. After finding the root cause in the analyzed phase, a control phase is important in order to control the improved process. It can be performed by creating a control plan where it should be exactly defined what data, how and how often and who should control. A control plan should be used by the team to guarantee that the process does not revert to its former practice. Next is the outline of the conclusion and recommendation. For the conclusion, the study discussed about the DMAC methodology that has been suggested in the rice production industry. The define phase is define the device by using the data collection and also the Pareto chart. For the measure phase is to gathering the data by using process mapping and cause effect diagram. Analyze phase is where the root cause was identified by using tools such as fishbone diagram, 5-why analysis, and also failure mode and effect analysis. For the improve phase is suggesting the tool such as the standard operating procedure SOP and POCAYOKE in order to eliminate the error that caused the defect. And lastly, the control phase suggests tool which is the control plan that can help the company to increase more effort to improve its operation, which is to increasing the production. Lastly, for the recommendation, first to recognizing that having real-time and accurate information about the manufacturing system is important when a company is dealing with quality problem. Next is the future update and improvement the standard operating performance schedule. Next is the suggest framework effective is dependent on the company willingness, motivation and also skill set. And lastly, the proper study in measure and analyze phase to have a true understanding of the process in order to identify the core cause of deviation from the standard that must be eliminated in order to improve the process. Thank you for your time.